lot of the flowers or the perennials are still kind of waiting for spring, but I've got some, this is Monstro de Viroflay spinach. This is just grass, but these little seedlings are starting to sprout. That's some leftover corn salad or lamb's lettuce. That's kind of the only thing that sprouted this winter when I tried to plant seeds, I think in November. But I've still got that arugula that's going pretty strong in that back corner that I've been making a lot of little salads from throughout the winter. And I've been really appreciative of that. It's kind of starting to flower, I've noticed, and wanting to go to seed. So I think that it's going to be done soon. Here I've got under that plastic is some bok choy. I've got 2 different varieties. And then here there are some pea seedlings that are starting to sprout. I planted radishes there and some kohlrabi here, but in the middle along the trellis is going to be, you can see these cute little pea shoots coming up right there. I've got snow peas on this side, and then I've got a purple potted pea and I believe a dwarf snap pea, sugar and snap pea on the other side. I'm excited for that. There's nothing better than snow peas, fresh snap peas or snow peas in the spring. There's an apple tree that I rescued from a friend's place. This whole area is now sheet mulched. It used to all be grass pretty much around the raised beds, and I decided that just wasn't going to work for me. All completely sheet mulched with cardboard and just really good quality cedar wood chips. And I know that people say that it robs nitrogen from the soil. That's only temporary. And I've added compost, little rings of compost around all of the plants. There's a tree collar down there. And a lot of these I've gotten from friends and community members, which just makes this garden all the more special to me as a place that kind of represents, you know, the South Seattle community, especially for people of color that just don't necessarily have access to land and spaces like this. I want to be able to sort of provide that, at least for my neighborhood or my block. Here's some little poppy seeds that are starting to sprout. Those are from my friend Lay, and I built these little Hugel style beds with just some firewood that nobody wanted, and I put some horse manure and compost in it. And then here I've got my potatoes, which they sort of survived, I think. They seem pretty good now. They've been through some pretty hard frosts, but I've been covering them as diligently as I can. I planted some of my onion seedlings here. It's kind of hard to tell. They're very tiny, but in between there are some onion seedlings. And again, like these Hugel beds are just sort of, they're going to be for pollinator flowers or beneficial plants for beneficial insects, and so they're kind of like an aside to the rest of the garden. I guess I could plant more vegetables there, but I've got plenty of space already, so I'm kind of dedicating that to flowers this year. I've got some turnips sown. I know it's kind of hard to tell with, nothing has really sprouted yet, but I wanted to at least show you guys around. There are some leftover winter veggies, or veggies that are still growing, I should say. There are leeks in there, and then there's some onions that are, there's a little bit smaller and harder to see, but they're from sets that I got from a friend or I purchased, and I've heard that onion sets can kind of go to flower prematurely, and that's why I started them from seed, so we'll kind of experiment with that. Here's some more potatoes. All the potatoes I got were they weren't special. They were just organic potatoes from PCC, not seed potatoes. But these are fingerling potatoes. They look kind of interesting. They're like the little, oval ones. And then there's some yellow and red potatoes over there. We'll see how those turn out. And I just cut them up, where the eyes were, and then chitted them. And then there's my garlic. It's looking really nice. All of the garlic that I planted in November is just flourishing. There's no concern about frost. I think here in Seattle that isn't really a concern. It's kind of overthinking it. Everything looks healthy and green, and it's amazing how big they've gotten just even in the winter time. It seems like they've grown a lot. Like whenever there's sunshine, they take advantage of that. So I'm so excited to see what it's going to look like by harvest time, which is, still months away. Some watermelon radishes that they never quite bulbed up. And I think it's because I just didn't plant them early enough, but it's okay. That's just like one variety of many, many seeds that I've sown throughout the months. So that's kind of part of gardening is just experimenting and learning, and that's kind of the fun part of it, because everybody's going to go through, those mistakes. And then here are all my salad greens. I'm trying to do a better job of succession sowing. Last year, I think some people remember my huge field of lettuce, and I was just giving away tons and tons of lettuce, which isn't, terrible. I love giving stuff away, but just to have a better harvest for myself and even to give away or sell, it's better to stagger the harvest. So I sowed half of the seeds like 2 weeks ago, and then I just sowed more seeds on this side. And then the varieties that I have are the Rouge d'Hiver, which I believe is the red of winter in French. Lamb's lettuce, again, same as over there, corn salad. More Monstera viriflay. It seems to be a really hardy spinach, as well as the arugula. It's already started to sprout. I don't know if you can see all that, but it's very cute. And then the Forellenschluss lettuce, which has like little red speckles, I'm excited about. I just sowed some blue curled scotch and scarlet kale as well. And then I guess I'll kind of take you guys for the whole 360. So there's a fig tree. The raspberry canes are starting to shoot up. These raspberries are delicious. And this whole area was weed infested last year, so I'm hoping that this mulch, providing that kind of habitat for the mycorrhizal fungi and that environment in general for fungal decomposition, is going to be really good for all my plants. I sowed a few more. There's a few. It's kind of ugly here, but right now I've got a couple more hugel beds is what it is, but I've covered it up just to prevent any weed seeds from falling. But I've got some cute little calendula sprouts. You can see that down there. They've kind of started to pop up. I believe they're calendula. They come up pretty quickly in the winter, even, because they're cold hardy. And then this is kind of like my berry hill, as I like to call it. I rescued two. Well, they kind of rescued me too, but they're two blueberry plants that I got for free from this blueberry farm up in Mount Vernon. My friend Leigh and I kind of divvied up the gas money, and I got 2 plants for her as well. But they've started to bud up, which is really, really exciting. Here you can see like one little, let's see that little bud right there. But yeah, they're just gonna produce a lot of blueberries. I think they can live 50 years or something. But I think they're probably like already 10 years old, which is not necessarily a bad thing. They're well established. That's a rhododendron, also likes acidic soil. It's kind of the idea of Berry Hill, is just to keep all the acidic stuff together. Strawberries, gooseberry right here, I got from a trade, and it's starting to bud up. Exciting. And this whole thing, this snake-like structure, is just like a huge hugel mound, like a really long one that it just kind of, some of it is very intuitive because I guess the hill, it's a long contour, yes, but it just kind of looked nice to me. And I didn't want to build a fence here because I didn't want to like fence people off from the garden, but I wanted it to be, inviting, but also a little bit private at the same time. And so, yeah, like all along here, there are just different plants like daylilies, euphorbias. This is a vine maple that I got from my friend Emily, and there's some tree collards, St. John's wort, there's a dogwood shrub. There's all sorts of stuff here that honestly it hasn't even started like flourishing yet. Like it started growing, but not like that sort of spring flourish yet. So I think once that happens, then I'll be able to point out things a little better. And this area just used to be, like all of this used to be grass, but I actually took all of the debris from a lot of the surrounding areas. My mom helped me chop down some branches here and there, and I just broke them all up and laid them down on top of the cardboard because, you know, it's really just simulating a forest environment. I really love these variegated vincas that they almost look like they're like a display, and got those from my friend Cindy. And then, yeah, as we walk up here, kind of gets more shaded. I'm still trying to learn the sun and shade, but it seems like most of my property is in the sun, which is, I am not complaining about at all. But let's just take a tour from this angle so you can kind of see the scale of this. It's a big undertaking, but it's just so rewarding to see stuff like this, just the rhubarb pop up. See that little, I think that's a rhubarb, a green rhubarb. Actually, I've got from my friend Tamara. Lots of really generous people in the Seattle area that just want to share their love of plants with people, and I think that's such a great thing. I'm kind of like an orphanage for plants. So as we walk back here, this is a pathway that I built, and it's totally changed now. The lawn it's kind of hard to tell in the shade, but it's much smaller now than it used to be. Here's the grand overview. This all used to be grass beyond this brick perimeter here, but as we walk in, a lot of these materials are actually repurposed things that I actually just secondhand, literally like junk that people didn't want or didn't know what to do with, like these beautiful flagstones from somebody's back patio or backyard. These were for somebody in Bothell that I picked up. And then these things are just more hugel mounds, just of varying materials that I was able to gather. So this is a pine, I believe it's a pine tree of some sort. You can tell from the needles. But I just literally put logs and then branches of the same tree and then piled a bunch of cow manure and compost and stuff like that on there. That's compost that I got from Tilth. And I planted some seeds in there already, but we'll see how they do. A little bit less sun on this side, a little more sun on this side. As we enter this little secret garden that I had the vision for last summer, just building on that essentially, because I have the opportunity and I have the privilege to do that. And I acknowledge that as well. That is something I think everyone has a right to, is to land and to the ability to cultivate it. Some more kale that I planted. I'm going to plant some ginger here. Here I've got some more snap peas, or snow peas rather, and then beets. And I noticed that this area was not shade. I thought because it was under this tree that it was going to be shade, but it was pretty much full sun. At least in the summer it was a huge problem for things like ferns and hydrangeas, so I moved those over there, which I can show you. So this area is pretty barren as of now. I'm hoping to put some kind of climbing plant like a clematis or something in that corner, or jasmine. I really wanted jasmine. And this is a flowering currant from my friend Emily again. One of the first things to pop in the spring. It's just so delicate and beautiful, and you can kind of see it a mile away. It's gonna make a lot of birds and bugs happy, so grateful for that. And then this, you can see there's straw and stuff on there. It's because it's actually just chicken manure and bedding from a local chicken farmer. And so he just bagged up a couple bags of chicken compost for me, and I just laid it here because I'm not really going to do anything with these mounds for a while. Maybe those two, because they're just easier to access, but these two I'm just kind of like backburnering them. So they're just going to sit there and decompose and add fertility and nitrogen back into the soil, lots of nitrogen. So still haven't really fully fleshed out this upper corner, although I've kind of finished building the foundation for it. Definitely gonna plant some stuff there so it doesn't, get overtaken by weeds or anything this year. Here's the hydrangea I moved over. It's a really pretty, I think deep magenta or speckly white one. And then there's a hellebore, and I moved my astilbe and just different things that were shade plants over in the actual shade. And yeah, you can still tell the cardboard's still in action. It's probably going to be gone after, 2 months or something, but it's still there, keeping the weeds down. This was all blackberries before. So, that's kind of the strategy that I've employed, is just sheet mulching heavily, 2 layers in this area versus the 1 layer that I did everywhere else. Because I just really didn't want to deal with all the blackberries and the weeds coming back. So yeah, that's kind of it. All right, and I know I promised you guys a tour of the greenhouse earlier in the wintertime, so let's take a look. I just recently moved my seedlings in here. It's very warm because it's sunny today. I think it's 50 something outside. It feels like 70 in here. Here are my brassicas. I've got some beets and chives and basil and okra and chamomile, all sorts of stuff in here. More got kohlrabi, more brassicas. I've got more nightshades, like eggplant. And I'm gonna be putting up the seedlings for sale, so look for that as well. I'm gonna sell them for cheap, but since I have way too many than I need, I'm definitely happy to share these, especially because the varieties are so cool. A lot of them have little stripes and different colors and different flavors. Here are my onions. So I know I did a video on how to start onion seeds. This is, 2 months later. They're not probably growing as big as they would if they were, individually in each cell or whatever, but onions, their roots and even their leaves don't take up that much space. So I think this kind of method is great for just an easy way to sow seeds. And you really, it's really easy to just separate them, pull all the roots apart. I think I mentioned an M.I. Gardner video that I that I watched for this experiment, for this planting. And then this is just cat grass. My cats have chewed that pretty thoroughly. But I just keep it in here to keep it growing. And then I've got my 2 bell pepper plants that I've managed to overwinter outside in this greenhouse. That was kind of the experiment. I didn't want to keep them in my house per se, just because I didn't have that much space. So yeah, so I just add compost to those, so hopefully they'll keep growing and they'll like the warmth in here, which I'm pretty positive they will. So that's kind of it. I wanted to just kind of end with this kind of gratitude for this space and the ability, this opportunity for me to build a food forest, which I'm trying to put into place with all of these, basically in permaculture, it's called all of these mounds. Hugelkultur mounds could be considered like a berm or sort of an elevated area, and then behind them could be considered like a swale where the water, the rain as it washes down from the slope kind of collects, and then that reduces my sort of frequency of watering, or reduces the necessity to water as frequently. Same with those walls and those contours, those walls along contours, along contour. And so all of this is kind of a dream that I never thought I had, but I am nonetheless very grateful for it. So thank you for coming along with me on this journey.